Well, Ed Stetzer is professor and dean at Wheaton College, where he also serves as the executive director of the Wheaton College Billy Graham Center. Ed, it is always great to see you, and Happy New Year. Strong words, though, from the National Association of Evangelicals. That statement also says the mob at the Capitol was provoked by leaders like President Trump who've employed conspiracy theories for political gain. Ed, you've written about the subject. How is it that Christians have fallen prey to such conspiracies?
Well, it's been a great concern of mine. I've written on USA Today, Dallas Morning News, talked about it here on CBN. And I would say that there seems to be a sense where there's an echo chamber promoting ideas that are unmoored from reality. It was Pat Robertson himself who said that President Trump lives in an alternate reality. Well, I think a lot of other people are living in that reality. And when we eventually get to the place where we keep saying and believing things that aren't true, it can lead to an echo chamber, which, as we've seen, has led to violence and actual deaths on Capitol Hill.
One thing you wrote, Christians are people of truth. So how do we fight against lies that have become so prevalent in today's highly polarized climate?
Well, I think, Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I think ultimately we need to commit ourselves to not be easily fooled. Gullibility is not a spiritual gift, and it's not a godly virtue. And I think ultimately to see the discipleship of the mind, where we actually can say, maybe if this hasn't been reported by even more conservative media outlets, and it's been widely dismissed, maybe it's not true, but I read it on the internet. But other people I know agree with it. Well, at the end of the day, we've got to have a discipling of our mind. There's a scandal of the evangelical mind, Mark Knoll wrote years ago, and I think that scandal is being played out in conspiracy theories. And right now, I think after this Capitol Hill storming, this breaching, more than the Capitol's been breached, I think we need to have an evangelical reckoning about why so many were so easily fooled during this heartbreaking time.
Ed, you talked about the words of Jesus saying, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He also described the enemy as the father of lies. The NAE statement hits on the notion of Christian nationalism. Can you explain what that term means?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the word conflation is key. Is that Jesus is king. He's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And I want all my allegiance, my primary allegiance, to be him. I'm also a citizen of this country. I'm actually a patriotic citizen of this country. Before COVID, I participated in July 4th parades. I read the Declaration of Independence with my family every July 4th. But what's happened is when we mix these things together, we end up thinking that God has some special relationship with our country, or maybe a political party, or maybe a political figure. And at the end of the day, Jesus stands above those things. He, and the psalmist writes that he laughs as the nations rage. God laughs as the nations rage because he stands above those things. So as the nations rage and all the bitterness and anger, even in our country right now, one of the things that's going to bring us together, we need to have this key evangelical reckoning. We need to have hard conversations. One of the things that's going to bring us together is to bring our loyalty fully to Jesus, not some Jesus mixed with, Jesus wearing an American flag or something like that, but Jesus, and then be good, thoughtful citizens of this country that care about moral issues, that care about religious liberty, that care about immigrants and refugees. But we need to be careful. We don't want to mix our Jesus and our patriotism. When we mix those together, we can both be patriots and followers of Jesus, but they're not the same thing. There are times our countries make mistakes, and our leaders certainly have right now.
Right.
Well, Ed, as you know, a lot of white evangelicals have been supportive of the president and his policies. As the country transitions into a new administration, what wisdom can you offer those who might be unsure of what's ahead?
Well, I do think, as one who's actually been very thankful for some of the Supreme Court justices that we've seen, very thankful for religious liberty, executive orders, and more, I think we're going to see a pretty substantive shift. And I think this is a shame. I mean, even seeing the Senate lost in many ways because of, again, quoting Pat Robertson, the very erratic behavior of President Trump. We've seen Democrats actually now control the Senate. And so now you're going to see things like the Equality Act become a very real concern that the Coalition for Christian Colleges and Universities considers an existential threat to us, to our ministry, and to our mission. So there's going to be religious liberty concerns. We're going to have to continue to speak up for life. We're going to have to speak up for issues that maybe were assumed in the last administration aren't assumed in this administration. And I think it's going to be a hard time. And I think moving forward, we're going to have to steel ourselves, disciple ourselves, and band together to show and share the love of Jesus in a really divided time.
Ed, we are out of time. Thank you so much, Ed Stetzer, for being with us today.
Thank you so much.